Welcome, new students, to Shiz University. Miss Elphaba, you can room with Miss Glinda.
Wicked Part 1 wasn't just a feast for the eyes, it was packed with hidden details that tease what's coming in Part 2. From subtle props to blink and you'll miss it dialogue, the movie is laying the groundwork for some big twists in the sequel. In this video we're diving behind the Emerald Curtain to uncover the most intriguing Easter eggs and clues that connect the two parts, but fair warning, there are spoilers ahead for both Part 1 and the upcoming Part 2.
In today's Oz, a real sorcerer who possesses true magic has become all too rare.
The wizard's mysterious past is woven into the movie through subtle details and visual clues. His iconic hot air balloon plays a central role. It appears as the contraption that delivers Elphaba's invitation to the Emerald City. It's stamped with Omaha NE, a reference to his origins in Omaha, Nebraska. You'll also notice the hot air balloon imagery everywhere if you pay attention, from the tiny balloon-shaped charm on Jeff Goldblum's wizard costume to the intricate carvings at Shiz University. These touches underline his identity as Oscar Diggs, a former circus magician. In fact, posters and boxes in the tower where Elphaba enchants her flying broomstick prominently display his name alongside illustrations of lions and magic wands, echoing his past life performing illusions in a traveling circus.
You have no real power.
Exactly. That's why I need you.
Dorothy's journey to Oz is also hinted at in several moments. First, in the wizard's model of the Oz of tomorrow, he showcases his grand vision, including the iconic yellow brick road, a path that Dorothy and her companions will famously travel. But that's not all. In a chilling moment, the wizard lifts a tiny house and carefully places it atop a spire, mirroring the tornado that will carry Dorothy's house into Oz. The film also opens showing a brief cameo of Dorothy, Toto, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion from behind as they march down the yellow brick road, carrying the Wicked Witch's broomstick after her apparent melting. And during the wizard's performance of A Sentimental Man, the shadow dance from behind the curtain recreates Elphaba's dramatic confrontation with Dorothy, an iconic moment from Act 2 of the stage musical, where the melting scene takes center stage.
Bring her to me.
Bach's journey in Wicked Part 1 hints strongly at his future transformation into the Tin Man. Early in the movie, Bach introduces himself as Bach Woodsman, a subtle nod to the Tin Woodsman from L. Frank Baum's Oz novels and the iconic Tin Man from the 1939 film. But it doesn't stop there. Did you notice how Glinda clutches Bach's red handkerchief over her heart before tucking it beneath the left side of his vest where his heart is supposed to be? That placement feels intentional, subtly foreshadowing his eventual fate as the heartless Tin Man when a spell by Nesseros tragically backfires. And there's more. In one of the wide shots, Ethan Slater, who plays Bach, strikes a familiar stiff-leaning pose, eerily reminiscent of Jack Haley's Tin Man during his famous If I Only Had a Heart dance. Even Bach's book choice adds to the clues. He's spotted reading about felling trees, a subtle but clever nod to his eventual identity as the Tin Man.
Bach Woodsman of Munchkinland.
The movie opens after Elphaba's death, with the Wicked Witch's iconic hat resting in a puddle of water, which actually honors the stage musical, but as the camera pans, it reveals a circular window reflected in the puddle alongside the hat, creating an upside-down illusion. This isn't just a clever visual, it signals that everything we think we know about the Wicked Witch is about to be flipped on its head, just as the Broadway show and Gregory Maguire's novel did. And it doesn't stop there. When Glinda arrives at Shiz University, she's seen from below the water's surface. This subtle imagery emphasizes that the story isn't just about the surface-level characters we know. Instead, it dives beneath, offering new perspectives on the good and wicked witches.
Fellow Ozians, the Wicked Witch of the West is dead.
In Act 2 of the Wicked musical, there's a jaw-dropping moment when the truth about Elphaba's parentage is finally revealed. After Elphaba's supposed death, Glinda discovers the green elixir among the wizard's belongings, confirming that he is in fact Elphaba's biological father. The movie sets up this revelation perfectly in Part 1, using subtle but powerful clues. During No One Mourns the Wicked, we see Elphaba's mother Melina being visited by a mysterious man. He offers her the green elixir, and though his face is cleverly hidden either by shadows or cinematic angles, his voice is unmistakable. It's Jeff Goldblum. who later plays the wizard, but the sound mixers tweak his voice just enough to make it less obvious, but if you're paying attention, you'll catch the connection. The film even nods to this later, as Jeff Goldblum's wizard has a surprisingly tender moment with Elphaba when he pulls a coin from behind her ear, a classic fatherly magic trick. And when he presents her with his vision of Oz, it's like he's showing his daughter the dollhouse he always dreamed of making for her.
Folks have come to expect that sort of thing. And you gotta give the people what they want.
Nesseros's silver slippers aren't just beautiful, they're hiding clues about what's coming in part 2. Let's start with the spiral design on the heels. Look closely, and you'll see how these swirling shapes rise upward, mimicking the motion of the tornado that brought Dorothy to Oz. This could be a subtle, clever nod to the story's origins and possibly a tease of the tornado's return in part 2. Then there's the semicircular accents along the sides, perhaps symbolic of rainbows, a heartfelt nod to the iconic Somewhere Over the Rainbow song. And did you catch the ruby red interior of the box? While the shoes themselves are silver, the vivid red lining feels like a deliberate tease of Dorothy's iconic slippers, signaling their importance in the next chapter.
Give me back my slippers. I'm the only one that knows how to use them. They're no use to you. Give them back to me. Give them back.
One of the most fascinating foreshadowing details in Wicked is Fiyero's transformation into the Scarecrow. Throughout the movie, there are subtle hints that nod to his future fate. For instance, when Fiyero first meets Elphaba on the way to Shiz, he casually offers her a ride on his horse, and she sharply replies, "Get stuffed." A seemingly offhand comment, but in hindsight, it's a clever tease for what's to come. Jonathan Bailey's performance adds another layer of detail, especially in the dancing through life sequence. The carefree, floppy movements in his choreography mirror the loose-jointed style of the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. Even the way he carelessly tosses books during the scene ties back to the Scarecrow's iconic "If I Only Had a Brain" song.
In my head, I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain.
Even his appearance is a clue. Fiyero's blonde highlights subtly allude to the straw-filled head of his future self at the Ozdist Ballroom. His carefree Scarecrow-like poses offer yet another visual nod. And here's something Glinda says that hits differently once you know the twist. Before heading to the Emerald City, she tells Elphaba that Fiyero has been acting differently, and he's been thinking, which really worries her. This comment not only highlights his growth, but foreshadows the very essence of the Scarecrow's journey. Also, in one of the trailers, we catch a glimpse of Dorothy and her gang standing before the wizard, and if you look closely at the Scarecrow, you'll notice something unmistakable. He's wearing Fiyero's green and gold Captain of the Guard uniform, even with the pointed gold leaf design on his back. On the hints about Fiyero's future as the Scarecrow, the Poppy scene offers yet another clue. In this moment, Elphaba's anger over the lion cub's mistreatment, one that eventually grows into the cowardly lion, causes her magic to surge, enchanting the bouquet of poppies she had brought for Dr. Dillamond. The flowers levitate and send nearly everyone in the classroom into a deep sleep, everyone except Fiyero. This detail mirrors the Scarecrow's immunity to poppies in The Wizard of Oz, where the Wicked Witch uses a field of poppies to incapacitate Dorothy and her companions, making them vulnerable to her flying monkeys, suggesting that Fiyero's transformation is already being foreshadowed. Just as the Scarecrow couldn't be affected by the poppy field in the future, Fiyero stands unaffected here, hinting at what's to come in Wicked Part 2.
Fiyero, what are you doing?
Well, you coming?